Well, he's not allowed to call them names. And then here the Biden regime sends these crank hacks out to show that they are the exact opposite.
Want to follow the 2024 campaigns but don't have the time? Then catch the Crusade Channel's Campaign 2024 report with Magdalene Rose every weekday mornings at 7, 9, and 11 a.m. Eastern, exclusively on CrusadeChannel.com.
In the beginning, there was beer, and man saw that beer was good. And man said,
Wouldn't 6 of these packaged together be even better?
Then man created the six-pack and saw that it was good. Next, man invented the cigar, and man saw that the cigar was good. And man said,
Let's pack them up in boxes of 25.
Then man,
25? What was wrong with 6?
Announcing an idea whose time has come. MB Fuma Off the Boat Cigars. Now in 6-pack and 4-pack samplers. Right alongside Manchupi and Maria's cigars in singles and 4-pack samplers. On sale now at shopmikechurch.com. That's shopmikechurch.com. And this is supposed to be a 60-second tight spot. So one more time, shopmikechurch.com.
What's the best way to get rid of a timeshare that you don't want? Call the Timeshare Exit Hotline. We're a group of attorneys that help customers legally exit their timeshares. It's an easy process. We guarantee results or you pay nothing. Exit your timeshare today. Call now.
800-290-6705. 800-290-6705. That's 800-290-6705.
Broadcasting 50,000 kilowatts from atop the tallest radio tower on the planet. We are KRSD, the Crusade Channel, Madisonville. Well, it's what our call letters would. The Crusade Channel, your news talk and Art Bell station. UFOs, Bigfoot, and ghost-busting conspiracy theory radio begins. Weeknights, Art Bell and the Graveyard Shift. Midnight, East, 9 West on CrusadeChannel.com.
Hi, I'm Magdalene Rose with today's Crusade Radio Network campaign report for Wednesday, May 29th, 2024. Here's what's happening today. Ohio lawmakers convened on Tuesday for a special session to address Joe Biden's ability to appear on their general election ballot in November. Ohio Senate Republicans ultimately passed a bill that would allow both Biden to appear on their general election ballot in November, but also bar foreign contributions to ballot issue campaigns. The judge overseeing Donald Trump's classified documents case in Florida on Tuesday denied prosecutors' requests to bar the former president from making public statements that could endanger law enforcement agents participating in the prosecution. RFK Jr. voiced opposition to the removal of Confederate monuments. RFK Jr. continues to play both sides. For more details and the links to these stories and more, head to crusadechannel.com/news.
Did you know that the rosary began as a tool to give laity a form of common prayer like what was being prayed in monasteries? And monasteries were praying all 150 psalms from the Bible. But most laity couldn't afford a Bible, and most couldn't read, so they began praying the Our Father 150 times a day. Today the rosary is prayed by millions, and each one is a work of art. There is no finer maker of this art than Maggie O'Connell and the Little Bayou Rosary. Find her rosary creations today at shop.mikechurch.com.
Attention Coffee Police Academy students. We will now call the roll. CPA candidate Jones.
Present.
Joe Arabica Friday.
Present.
Tommy.
Oh, I'm here, sir. I just can't seem to keep my eyes open since I started drinking this Barrett Bargain Basement Stale Bean Water.
And just why are you violating CPA Coffee Code SPW1AM?
Well, that's easy. So can save up money to get into the Coffee Cop Academy.
Son, breaking CPA rules so you can get into CPA is no way to become a coffee cop. Now, I am afraid we're going to have to...
Uh-oh. Sounds like Lou has found the academy, and he's on his second cup of Abbey Roast.
Well, what does he want?
He wants to know why the CPA didn't recognize his Rougarou nouns.
Rougarou nouns? And I'm the one that rejected his application.
Will Lou the Roo Guru have his revenge and grind the coffee cop into espresso? Stay tuned to this station for our next episode. And in the meantime, order Abbey Roast Coffee at shop.mikechurch.com.
Hello, Crusaders. I'm Janet Huxley at the Crusade Radio Network News Desk with your Crusade Crucials for Wednesday, May the 29th, 2024. This report is brought to you by Cookin' with the King Dude Meat Rubs. Try a bag of beast and butt rub for pork and Acadiana steak rub and seasoning. A taste of Louisiana for American beef. Our rubs feature competition quality with home-cooked convenience and are created by Mike Church. Available at mikechurch.com/rubs. In the market report, the Dow fell 0.55%, but the S&P closed out just slightly higher, 0.02. NASDAQ is up 1.10%. Today is a day my kids would have loved when they were younger. It is National Flip-Flop Day. We've made it. It's summer. You can break out the flip-flops. The problem is when my kids were little, they wanted to wear them in the snow. Frontal lobe development hadn't quite kicked in yet. National 529 Day reminds us to save for college. It's also National Paperclip Day and Senior Health and Fitness Day, as well as National Coq au Vin Day. And that celebrates a delicious French dish, which is a French braise of chicken cooked with wine, lardons, salt pork, mushrooms, and garlic. It's translated to rooster with wine. Our quote of the day, you must never ask Jesus to wait, St. Ursula Ledachowska. And our saint of the day, St. Gregory VII. You're listening to Crusade Radio Network News.
Attention coffee lovers! The Founders Trading Post has done it again! We've actually increased our selection of America's best gourmet coffees. Try the new Guatemala Le Eterna roast from Twin Pikes Roastery. Order today and take advantage of flat rate shipping at shop.mikechurch.com.
This is Fiorella Nash, and I have a secret for our American listeners. The Founders Trading Post store is home to one of the largest collections of G.K. Chesterton books of any bookstore. From Orthodoxy to What's Wrong with the World, we are your Chesterton superstore. You can easily shop all our G.K. Chesterton titles at shop.mikechurch.com. And trust me, your intellect and country will thank you.
Spring is in full bloom. Hi, I'm Barbara Dooley, and I invite you to spring forward by upgrading to a new Kia from my friends at Bulldog Kia. I drive a new Kia Telluride from Bulldog Kia, and I absolutely adore it. It's spacious, comfortable, and has great safety features. And this month only, you can get an additional $750 off through the Kia Owner Loyalty Program. You can get a great new Kia for a great price at Bulldog Kia in Athens on the Atlanta Highway. Don't forget, all new Kias also come with the industry-leading 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. Check them out online at bulldogkia.com or give them a call at 855-BULLDOG today. We'll see ya at Bulldog Kia.
Must take delivery by May 31st, 2024. Must finance through Kia Finance and have eligible trade to receive $750 owner loyalty program cash. Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or dealer for details.
Hi.
While you were gone, we saved the free world. Welcome back to the Mike Church Show.
Well, I was rolling down the road in some cold blue steel. I had a blues man on the back and a beautician out the wheel. We're going downtown in the middle of the night. We're laughing and I'm joking and we're feeling alright. Oh, I'm back.
I'm nationwide. How you doing?
Yes, I'm back. I'm nationwide. Easing down the highway.
All aboard that's coming aboard the freight train of truth is leaving MAGA station. Mike Church goes on via the Crusade Radio and Railway Network. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at BulldogKia.com. We'll see you at Bulldog Kia. You tell them I sent you on the Atlanta Highway in Athens, Georgia. Bulldog Kia, co-sponsor of the 2024 Golden Truth Ticket Kia Sportage giveaway. You people that are listening on the Crusade Radio Network or watching on YouTube, you can play the game. It's open to all listeners. You're listening? We'll play you the sound bites next Monday and sometime in the 6 a.m. hour, 7 a.m. Eastern time. Listen all day long for it to be played back and be the appropriate number caller. We're going to give you a $100 ticket to win a 1 in 1,000 chance our 2024 Kia Sportage. This will be the 5th Kia that we have given away. So we've done 4 previous Golden True Ticket contests. The purchasing of extra tickets is easier than it has ever been before, and I will give you the URL for that. But our friends at Bulldog Kia are aiding and assisting in this big promotion and giveaway this year for Independence Month. So the car's going to be given away. How cool is this? On the actual Independence Day, July the 2nd. So, keep it tuned here to the Mike Church Show on the Crusade Radio Network for your chance to win. And I'll tell you all about where you can go to read all about the contest rules and all that as the week unfolds. This is there's so much other stuff to get to here. I want to talk about Justice Samuel Alito for just a moment.
Back in the 1990s, in the heyday of broadcast TV, NBC called its Thursday night lineup must-see TV. Well, that was then, and this is now. And the only must-see TV is the Mike Church Show, simulcast on Crusade TV. You can watch the Dude Cam live feed with the video clips of the day when you become a Super Premium Founders Pass subscriber at crusadechannel.com/go. Sign up today and also get the Crusade Premium audio feed, all my podcasts. Sign up today at crusadechannel.com/go. Folks, I want to talk to you about investing in precious metals and Miles Franklin. Andy Schechtman and his father started Miles Franklin together with the belief that precious metals are wealth, not an investment. Now, you've heard Andy on the Mike Church Show, you know his knowledge and passion for precious metals is second to none. So call Miles Franklin today and tell him I sent you. 952-929-7006. Ask about precious metals storage and IRAs too. Call 952-929-7006.
Do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Are you being audited or investigated? Has the IRS sent you a letter demanding payment? You may not owe what they claim. Make this free call to the tax doctor now. Let them negotiate with the IRS on your behalf.
800-245-8178. 800-245-8178. That's 800-245-8178.
Attention coffee lovers, our Capuchin Dark Roast is now in its 6th year as Crusade Channel listeners' favorite coffee. Grab a bag of whole bean or ground, fresh roasted goodness today and take advantage of flat rate shipping and shop for all our coffees at shop.mikechurch.com. Do you hear that, Maggie?
Do I hear what?
You don't hear the sound of bees buzzing about?
No, I see the result of that buzzing about and these beautiful new beeswax candles.
We sell candles now?
Not just any candles. These are handmade beeswax candles.
Well, that explains me imagining bees.
And they come in different sizes. There's a votive, a 3-day, and a 7-day size too.
Well, that should start a buzz in the store.
It better, or you'll get the buzz.
Order handmade beeswax candles today while supplies last at shop.mikechurch.com. If you're on a quest to make the perfect steak, then you need the perfect steak seasoning for that. And my Acadiana steak seasoning is the perfect choice because unlike many off-the-shelf rubs, Acadiana is nearly salt-free, so you control the quantity of salt to your taste. For steaks, I like to use a healthy dose of very coarse grind kosher salt, and I heavily season both sides to make a blackened sear. Acadiana is also great on seafood and veggies too. Pick up a bag or 6 today at shop.mikechurch.com. Attention coffee lovers, the Founders Trading Post has done it again. We have actually increased our selection of America's best gourmet coffee. Try the new Borromeo roast from Twin Pikes Roastery. Order today and take advantage of flat rate shipping at shop.mikechurch.
Now, let's get you back to the reason you woke up early this morning. The Mike Church Show.
day's another day to find you. I'll be coming for your love, okay? How you doing? It's the Mike Church Show, defending the truth by conforming the American mind to reality. Here on the Crusade Radio Network, portion of the program brought to you by the Founders Trading Post Store. You just heard the commercial about those beeswax candles. They really are. It's a true story that the church household really did smell like honey when those boxes arrived. And they're heavy. The candles, the enclosures, the glass enclosures of the candles are all made by hand by a friend of the Mike Church shows and the Crusade Radio Network. She's a wonderful lady, and her husband actually learned to make the candles so he could make them for you. So if you're looking for really high quality, Larry, looking for the highest quality handmade beeswax candles, just in case that 3 days of darkness comes, or for whatever other reason, shop.mikechurch.com. We got them. What are 3 sizes, right? Votive, 3-day, 7-day. Correct? Different colors? Or just one color?
Beeswax color.
Okay, beeswax. No, I'm talking about the container. You know what, Mrs. O'Connell? I get enough from listeners to this program. I don't need it from you.
You have 2 different decals. One's blue and one's white, and one's the Miraculous Medal, and one's called the Immaculata, which is the script M with a crown of stars.
Okay, go get some. Now, how about that? Shop.mikechurch.com. Let's do some more digital media files here. By the way, I was just watching that the sentencing of Trump, should he be convicted by this jury in Lower Manhattan, Judge Mershon will do the sentencing. I want to know how you pass a sentence when there is no statutory crime. You just, Mr. Trump, from now on, your sentences are to consult the law. You will be placed under double secret probation. Double secret probation, Judge? What's that? It doesn't sound like a beautiful American act of justice. What is that? Our country deserves better. What is that? Rikers. I can imagine Trump's letter from Rikers Island. Trey Gowdy, the former congressman, was actually saying, he goes, look, I don't want to wish anyone to have to ever go to jail, certainly not Rikers Island. But if in this sham and show and kangaroo court, if they're to finish it off by convicting him and then they order him off into the custody of the penal system of the state of New York, he's going to get sent to Rikers Island. And Trey Gowdy goes like, I'm not saying that his popularity, that he needs this to increase his popularity, but his popularity will grow. Which kind of makes you think, when they set out to lock him up, and by the way, speaking of magnanimity, so we were talking about Biden earlier when he does his primetime address to the nation after the verdict is read. And as I was saying, well, he could really be magnanimous and he could pardon Trump if he wanted to. Now, someone is going to say, and this is actually correct, come on, TKD! These crimes are crimes against the people of New York. These are New York state crimes, not federal crimes. Biden can only pardon him for federal crimes. Well, Biden could say that I wish to pardon Trump, and then, as head of the Democrat Party, tell hateful Kate, you're the governor of New York, you have plenary pardon, commencement, commutation of sentence power, you do it. That would be magnanimous. But Democrats hate us They hate Trump, and they're not magnanimous. So I don't expect it, but I'm just saying that's one possibility. You see what I just did there? I give them the opportunity. I don't joy read or joy Behar and pretend to read what's in their heart and go like, well, they could do this, but they're probably not going to. I wish to play this with you. This is, all right, play Don Jr. first because he went first. So this is Donald Trump Jr. yesterday outside the courtroom. Let me take you back to 2000 and to the summer of 2015 and then the entirety of the year that was 2016. So I would have spent the summer of 2015 on the SiriusXM Patriot channel and would have also covered the first couple of Republican debates that Trump was a participant in. Then in late 2015, then we founded the contract wasn't renewed with SiriusXM, and then we founded the Crusade channel and the Crusade Radio Network, and we began here. And then in the summer of 2016, late spring, early 2016, when it was apparent that Donald Trump was going to be the Republican Party nominee, some things came up during the course of the campaign, and people would tell me things like, you don't really believe that he's pro-life, do you? And I'm like, I believe that he says that he is. Marjorie Dannenfelser believes that he'll keep his promise and appoint judges to repeal Roe, which he did. So, yeah, I believe that. And many people were saying that Trump was this. They actually cited Stephanie Gregory Clifford as one of the reasons why he's an immoral lout. He did this and that and the other, twice divorced, and blah, blah, blah. And I went like, okay, well, one of the measures of the mettle and dignity of a man, of any man, and this isn't a finite rule, but it does apply, I think, abstractly. One of the measures of a man is his children. How do they, now again, this is not, I don't want to hear from you that, well, I have a son or my nephew. There are exceptions to every rule. This is just I'm generalizing here, and I don't need you to write me and tell me I shouldn't be generalizing. Get your own damn show if you don't want generalizations. Generally, you can judge somewhat of a man's character and dignity and honor and what have you by the actions of his children. What do we see? Now, just grant that for a moment. What do we see in the actions of Trump's children? They're not crackheads. They're not hanging out with a crackhead son, Hunter Biden. They're not raping each other's wives or husbands. They're not philandering around and about that I know of. They seem to be pretty good at business. I've actually been to Trump's Vineyard in Charlottesville, Virginia. Eric Trump runs that, and he runs the resort there as well. You go to the grounds there and you go like, the employees are very kind. They're helpful. They're respectful and everything. The grounds are immaculate. How do Trump's children conduct their affairs in public? You can say what you want about Ivanka being a leftard. She is. But look, she's a female who married a Jewish guy. Most Jewish people, for whatever reason, tend to lean towards being liberal socialists. That's anti-Semitic. No, it's not. It's a fact. Go ask Dan Goldman or Jared Nadler if they regret being liberal socialists. They're Jews, too. But look at Trump's children. Turned out pretty well, I'd say. This while, supposedly he did this and that and the other. One more thing on this. Remember the clip that we used to play from the Maury Povich show where he gave the money to that little girl? And then the story that Rudy Giuliani tells about 9/11 and all the people that go like, you don't know what you're talking about. I had known Mr. Trump. What about the maid that worked for Trump and said that, and they tried to get her to turn state's evidence on him for the boxes of letters and all that, and she goes, oh, no. Mr. Trump is 100% great man, great employer, does so many things for me and my family. So let's listen then to the sons of Donald Trump who have been with their father every day at this trial. Now, you can say whatever you want. They're just there because of this, because they can't. Okay, dude, you got your story. That's fine. Maybe they're there because they love their dad. Maybe they're there because they love and respect their father, and they know a great injustice is being wrong. And if the head of the Trump family is going down, then the sons are going down with him. That says a lot about the Trumps. Why are you so Trump? Dude, I'm calling balls and strikes here. Let's do Don Jr. first. This is outside the courtroom yesterday afternoon.
The world. But the fact that they're holding a rally across the sea from this very witch hunt, right across the street, tells us exactly what we all knew all along, that it is a political persecution. It is a witch hunt. There is a reason one of the people sitting at that desk was the number 3 person in Joe Biden's DOJ. I know my father is not allowed to say Matthew Colangelo in his name, right? Because he's been gagged. The President of the United States is not allowed to exercise his First Amendment rights in New York City in this day and age.
Okay. My father, so he's there as what? As Donald Trump's son. Now, you want the crown prince? Play Eric Trump. This one, actually, somebody's going to go like, oh, come on, TKD, you don't really mean that. No, I do. This one actually nearly moved me to tears because I'm a dad. And I would want my children to know of my innocence and to be so passionate about going out and defending me were this to happen to me. And I think those of you that are parents will feel a little tug on your heartstrings as well. Don't you wish you had a son like Eric Trump? I do. I have a son. I love my son. I'd hope he would say the same. Be as eloquent. He's a little shy, so I don't think he would, but who doesn't want a son like Eric Trump? Answer that question for me. Those of you that are Trump haters out there, who doesn't want a son like Eric Trump? That's a man that loves his daddy, as we say here in the South. We say daddy. My daughter still calls me daddy. That's a man that loves his father, who thinks his father is the apple's eye. Can somebody explain to me what is wrong with that? Well, let me give you the answer. Everything is right with that. That's how it's supposed to be. Love, honor, respect, warts, bruises, yes, divorces, and all that stuff. But that's a pair of boys there that love their father, admire their father, respect their father, and know that he did nothing wrong. And instead they're going like, Dad, I'm going to be here with you every day. That in and of itself is unity. It is unity. It is family. I keep telling my daughters, girls, all that matters in your life is family. Get it right. Yes, we suck from time to time. Yes, I'm an idiot. Sometimes you are. Yes, I'm wrong. Most times you are. Most times. Yes, your friends call me a bigot. So what? Am I? Well, Dad, you did say, well, he is, and he should stop, and I pray for his soul. But in any event, family. You know, I'm rewatching my favorite television series of all time, Supernatural. I've watched the episodes that I fell asleep in because I watched some of them late at night. And season 5, episode 2. No, season 6, episode 2. Dean, Sammy, why did you leave me here for a year thinking you were in hell? Because he drove Lucifer back into his cage. Thinking that you were dead and in hell. Sammy, because I thought it was the right thing to do. I wanted to give you a chance to get out of the work. They hunt vampires and demons and stuff. And to have a family life. Dean, that's not what I wanted. Sammy. No, Dean, that's what Bobby and I thought was best for you. Dean, damn it, Sammy. I wanted you, my brother. I wanted my family, my real family. Why did that show stay on the air for 15 years? You know, they asked the producers that. Why? At the end, they go like, because it was a show about family. I mean, with all of the stuff that all of you object to, I'm acknowledging all of that. I didn't say you had to watch it. But why did it stay on the air for 15 years? Because it was all about family. It wasn't really about vampires and demons and ghosts and angels and Rougaroos. Yes, Lou the Rougarou made an appearance. At the end of the day, it was about family. And that is what matters. When you hear, isn't there another one? Didn't Lara Trump speak as well? No, this is the wife. This is Eric's wife, right? She's an in-law. Play the next one. Play Lara Trump. At the end of the day, there's an American family that's on trial. We talk about family all the time. Let's hope our daughters get married and have lots of kids and stay married.
And he talks about how they've attacked his entire family. Eric, Donald, Barron, they've all done that.
Tiffany,
have you seen Crackhead be prosecuted for anything?
Crackhead is being prosecuted for whatever the charge is. But this is an American family. You can say what you want about it. They're not the freaking Kardashians. The Trumps have done pretty well for themselves. They've hired a couple 100,000 people. Yes, I wish they were really great practicing Christians and had a great devotion to the Blessed Virgin Mary. Of course I do. But they don't right now. And I'm okay with them. It's not my job to save everyone. It's not yours either. It's not your job to give ratings of halos over people's heads either. What was the gospel reading? The second gospel. from this past Sunday from St. Luke, the second judge not lest ye be judged. You got a big giant beam in your eyeball? Maybe you ought to pluck that one out before you go after someone else and tell them to take theirs out. But this, to me, at the end of the day, this all comes down to family. You can see, even amongst the attorneys, there's family. There is camaraderie. There is unity in this. Now, again, I am not saying it's perfect. I ain't saying that you export it. And although it is preferable to most American, to a majority of American families today, here's Lara Trump. Now, she's an in-law in all this.
Pretty obvious after all.
All right. If they can profit off it, so can we. At the end of the day, there's an entire family there that's on trial. So we will find out. 8:30 a.m., so in about a half an hour, the judge is going to give the instructions, and then the jury will go into the deliberation room, and they will debate then upon the fate of one Don John of Mar-a-Lago. As has been said many times, we're just basically repeating it at this point. They can do that to him as a private American citizen. They can do it to us. I think the most dastardly thing that has come out of all this, especially recently here, is number one, the Biden regime sending the hit squad to go basically dance on the grave across the courtroom. And number two, Biden coming out saying he's going to address the nation when the verdict is read. Why? For what purpose? So all of that's on the table. We got an hour left to go and lots more to get to, folks. Don't go away.
A Crusade Channel, your news, talk, and parrot talk station. Mike Parrot Talks gets very fired up and even teaches from the middle of America, middays, 11 a.m. noon Eastern on CrusadeChannel.com.
In the beginning, there was beer, and man saw that beer was good. And man said,
wouldn't 6 of these packaged together be even better?
Then man created the six-pack and saw that it was good. Next, man invented the cigar, and man saw that the cigar was good. And man said,
let's pack them up in boxes of 25.
Then man...
25? What was wrong with 6?
Announcing an idea whose time has come. MB Fuma Off the Boat Cigars. Now in 6-pack and 4-pack samplers. Right alongside Manchupi and Maria's cigars in singles and 4-pack samplers. On sale now at shopmikechurch.com. That's shopmikechurch.com. And this is supposed to be a 60-second tight spot. So one more time, shopmikechurch.com.
Listen up, maggots! Every time you buy a book at Scamazon, Jeff Bezos gets money to add to his army of Terminator robots. Now you tell me, what kind of patriot does that? Certainly not the kind Church Show! You want to see the world now, don't you?
Come with me if you want to read.
That's why you're going to shop for books in the Founders Trading Post store at shop.mikechurch.com. Be a hero, save the free world, and as for Bezos,
put him in the chopper.
You're listening to the Crusade Channel, a Black Hat Studios media property, broadcasting live 24/7 from Madisonville, Louisiana, and to the world via crusadechannel.com.
Crusade Channel News. News you can trust. Because the truth can be trusted. From the Crusade Channel News Desk, here's Janet Huxley.
Good morning, Crusaders. Welcome to Wednesday, May the 29th, 2024. I'm Janet Huxley, reporting for the Crusade Radio Network News Desk, live from the Dothan Farm and Ranch south of Kansas City, Missouri. This report is brought to you by Cookin' with the King Dude Meat Rubs. Try a bag of beast and butt rub for pork and Acadiana steak rub and seasoning. A taste of Louisiana for American beef. Our rubs feature competition quality with home-cooked convenience and are created by Mike Church. Available at mikechurch.com/rubs. Here's what to listen for this hour. Closing arguments begin in New York versus Trump trial. A chaotic Democratic press conference with Robert De Niro outside. Federal judge denies Jack Smith's request for gag order against Trump. And the holy grail of finds on the ocean floor once thought mythical. Prosecutors in the New York versus Trump trial are taking the strategy of throwing nonsense after nonsense at the jury amid closing arguments in an effort to make it appear they proved their case, says New York litigator Rebecca Rose Woodland. I think their strategy is to throw a lot at the jury, make the closing seem so long that the jury will just start to say, well, that closing was so long, they must have had a lot to say, they must have proved their case, Woodland said on Fox News. The prosecution team's closing arguments started 2 o'clock Tuesday. Social media users on the right mocked the Biden campaign after it held a chaotic press conference outside the Manhattan courtroom. The press conference was headlined by liberal actor Robert De Niro, who stars in a new ad campaign for Biden. The actor claimed Trump wants to destroy the city and the nation and eventually could destroy the entire world. Conservatives compared the press conference, which was disrupted by hecklers and a car alarm, to an episode of the satirical HBO show Veep. U.S. Judge Eileen Cannon on Tuesday denied a gag order request submitted by special counsel Jack Smith in President Donald Trump's classified documents case. Over the past weekend, Smith's team asked Judge Cannon to impose the gag order, claiming the release of discovery documents showed FBI agents were armed and were prepared to shoot him during the August 22nd, 2022 search of his Mar-a-Lago property. Judge Cannon denied the request without prejudice because, according to her, it is wholly lacking in substance and professional courtesy. She said the special counsel's motion did not adhere to basic requirements and that any future non-emergency motion brought in this case, whether on the topic of release conditions or anything else, shall not be filed absent meaningful, timely, and professional conferral. Our quote of the day, you must never ask Jesus to wait, St. Ursula Ledachowska. And coming up, our saint of the day. You're listening to Crusade Radio Network News.
Attention coffee lovers! Our Capuchin Dark Roast is now in its 6th year as Crusade Channel listeners' favorite coffee. Grab a bag of whole bean or ground, fresh roasted goodness today and take advantage of flat rate shipping and shop for all our coffees at shop.mychurch.com.
Do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Are you being audited or investigated? Has the IRS sent...
Hey, that's 800-245-8178.
Our saint of the day is Saint Gregory the 7th. The 10th century and the first half of the 11th were dark days for the church, partly because the papacy was the pawn of various Roman families. But in 1049, things began to change when Pope Leo IX, a reformer, was elected. He brought a young monk named Hildebrand to Rome as his counselor and special representative on important missions, and Hildebrand was to become Gregory the 7th. It was then 3 evils plagued the church. Simony, the
White House in full-blown freak-out mode.
The unlawful marriage of the clergy and lay investiture.
There's a Politico story. It sounds like Democrats
of church
vote as Biden stubbornly
attention, first as counselor to the popes and then later as pope himself. And his papal letters stress the role of the Bishop of Rome as the vicar of Christ and the visible center of unity in the church. Gregory fiercely resisted any attack on the liberty of the church. For this he suffered and finally died in exile. He said, I have loved justice and hated inequity, therefore I die in exile. The liturgical feast of St. Gregory VII is celebrated on May 25th. The government of Colombia launched a deep-water expedition of a San Jose shipwreck, which is rumored to contain cargo worth billions. The galleon was on its way to Cartagena when it was ambushed by an English squadron and sank in 1708. Historians believe about 600 people on the ship died, with very few survivors. It is believed to contain 11 million gold and silver coins, along with emeralds and other valuable cargo that had been on its way to King Philip V of Spain. It had a mythical reputation before it was discovered in 2015 at around 600 meters deep. It's been called the Holy Grail of shipwrecks due to the vast amount of valuables. In February, the Colombian government announced it was putting $45 million into the exploration to retrieve treasure reportedly believed to be worth $20 billion. I'm Janet Huxley for the Crusade Radio Network, seeking news and finding truth.
Want to follow the 2024 campaigns but don't have the time? Then catch the Crusade Channel's Campaign 2024 report with Magdalene Rose every weekday mornings at 7, 9, and 11 a.m. Eastern, exclusively on CrusadeChannel.com.
The King Dude, working toward the day when all Walmarts are sold out of women's kitchen aprons and frying pans.
Now, you guys go ahead and pack your bags, Missy. So Mike Church show defending the truth by conforming the American mind to reality on the Crusade Radio Network. It is a Wednesday. It seems like it's a Tuesday. That's because it's the second broadcast day of Zavik here. Because of the blessed event of the Memorial Day holiday. Hope you all have returned back to reality. Prosperously. Remember when the judge instructs the jury at 8:30 a.m. Well, now they're changing it. Now they're saying it's 10 a.m., which would mean that we would be off, regardless when and if there is a verdict today. You will hear it live here on the Crusade Radio Network with yours truly as the host. Please go to Crusade Radio Network on YouTube and subscribe.
I'm Janet Huxley at the Crusade Radio Network News Desk with your Crusade Crucials for Wednesday, May the 29th, 2024. This report is brought to you by Cookin' with the King Dude Meat Rubs. Try a bag of beast and butt rub for pork and Acadiana steak rub and seasoning. A taste of Louisiana for American beef. Our rubs feature competition quality with home-cooked convenience and are created by Mike Church. Available at mikechurch.com/rubs. In the market report, the Dow fell 0.55%, but the S&P closed out just slightly higher, 0.02. NASDAQ is up 1.10%. Today is a day my kids would have loved when they were younger. It is National Flip-Flop Day. We've made it. It's summer. You can break out the flip-flops. The problem is, when my kids were little, they wanted to wear them in the snow. Frontal lobe development hadn't quite kicked in yet. National 529 Day reminds us to save for college. It's also National Paperclip Day and Senior Health and Fitness Day, as well as National Coq au Vin Day. And that celebrates a delicious French dish, which is a French braise of chicken cooked with wine, lardons, salt pork, mushrooms, and garlic. It's translated to rooster with wine. Our quote of the day: "You must never ask Jesus to wait." St. Ursula Ledachowska. And our saint of the day, St. Gregory VII. You're listening to Crusade Radio Network News. Did you know that the Rosary began as a tool to give laity a form of common prayer like what was being prayed in monasteries? And monasteries were praying all 150 psalms from the Bible. But most laity couldn't afford a Bible, and most couldn't read, so they began praying the Our Father 150 times a day. Today the Rosary is prayed by millions, and each one is a work of art. There is no finer maker of this art than Maggie O'Connell and the Little Bayou Rosary. Find her Rosary creations today at shop.mikechurch.com.
Hi, it's Mike Church.
And I'm Mike Parrott.
Almost every American schoolchild can tell you what 3 rights are in the Declaration of Independence. That among these are
life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But their civics knowledge ends there, and that's a problem. That's why I'm proud to have participated in one effort that I hope addresses this issue, the Covington Compact.
That's right, Mike. You can see the compact at crusadechannel.com/compact.
Strike a blow for New Christendom. Read, sign, and distribute the Covington Compact today at crusadechannel.com/compact.
If you're on a quest to make the perfect steak, then you need the perfect steak seasoning for that. And my Acadiana steak seasoning is the perfect choice because unlike many off-the-shelf rubs, Acadiana is nearly salt-free, so you control the quantity of salt to your taste. For steaks, I like to use a healthy dose of very coarse grind kosher salt, and I heavily season both sides to make a blackened sear. Acadiana is also great on seafood and veggies too. Pick up a bag or 6 today at shop.mikechurch.com.
While you were gone, we saved the free world. Welcome back to the Mike Church Show.
Well, we're living here in Allentown.
And they're closing all the factories down. Out in Bethlehem, they're killing time.
Filling out forms.
Standing in line. Well, our fathers fought the Second World War. Spent their weekends on the Jersey Shore. Met our mothers in the USO. Asked them to dance with them slow. And we're living here in Allentown.
There's such just a plethora of great Americana nostalgia in that song. I can dovetail on what I just talked about here on the Mike Church Show on the Crusade Radio Network. I hope you enjoyed that little monologue. That's just a little glimpse into George Webb's new book, Echoes of Laurel Canyon. I was blown away, folks. I spent 100 minutes speaking with him over this. We talked about Ronald Reagan. We talked about Marilyn Monroe. But he's the source of where he goes, Mike, okay, the CIA. I said, but why? Why, George? Why? He goes, well, you have to always, you follow the money because we were able to control the reserve currency. We could print it, run up all the debt we wanted. And then, because we had started and had participated kind of in the First World War, all in the Second World War, claimed to be the victors in the Second World War, it gave us military supremacy. And with military supremacy, then we can export this warfare to the rest of the world. I mean, the stories that he was weaving for me yesterday, like, for example, all the things that happened that presaged the assassination of John F. Kennedy, all just coincidentally went away when Lyndon Baines Johnson was sworn in. And George kept saying through the interview, Mike, I just want to remind your listeners, we're not just talking about dusty old history for the sake of dusty old history. It's still relevant today. Because the agencies they set up, the processes they set up, the things that they began to engage in are now this is the way business is done, which is for the benefit of the elite ruling masters and the Elite Ruling Master class. It's as simple as that. You ever noticed, you ever wondered, well, is there any real competition for building America's defenses? Does anyone really compete for who gets to build the A-bombs or who gets to build the F-35 or the F-22? Who gets to build the APCs? Who gets to build the mortar launcher? Who gets to build the systems that ultimately make the drones, et cetera, et cetera? They're all built by the same people. And by the way, the partnerships in the companies all just kind of change hands. You have Lockheed Martin. You also have Martin Marietta. You have General Dynamics. General Dynamics, by the way, fingerprints all over all of this. It's all in the interview coming out of Church Doctrine with George Webb, which probably will come out on Thursday. Remember that the Crusade Radio Network is your home for the 2024 Golden Truth Ticket 2024 Kia Sportage giveaway. We're really excited about this, and so are you going to be when you find out how it's going to be a one-click piece of cake to buy tickets for yourself, extra tickets, or for paying it forward for the couple of charities that we will choose, one of them being the St. Benedict Center. One-click checkout at Stripe. It's so easy, and I'll give you the URL beginning next Monday. That will take you directly there. We'll also give one ticket away per day. Maybe some days we'll do two. And then all throughout Independence Month, which is June, we will be talking about American independence and the road to independence and the stories. And then, of course, then we'll give the car away at Bulldog Kia on the Atlanta Highway on Independence Day, real Independence Day, July 2nd. Details are coming up at crusadechannel.com. If you're listening on YouTube, please subscribe, like today's show, thumbs up, leave a comment, let us know you're listening, tell a friend, and then subscribe to the channel. The most important thing you'll do on internet today, if you're out there on social media, would be to subscribe to the Crusade Radio Network on YouTube and give us a boost. Ben Shapiro doesn't need one. Certain other individuals that have 900,000 followers on YouTube don't need your boost. We do. And thank you in advance. Back to the moaning American home and the American dream. This story which got me started on, well, how have they crushed it? Now, by the way, they're now in the position where what they did to warfare and to the manufacture of the implements of mass destruction in war, they've conquered that. We can't throw any more money at the military-industrial complex. Can't throw any less. So where are they going to get the boost for the next generation that they kind of need to funnel in to this criminal, evil operation? Your house. Now they're coming for your property. So they were content for 4 decades to just milk you and I for all that we have under the guise of, no, you get the American dream. Really? When did that happen? Now they're not satisfied with that, and their beast cannot be fed with oil any longer. It cannot be fed with the weapons of killing people around the world. That only treads water. The only way they can grow this endeavor now is to figure out another way to take things from you and to take them from me, and this is how they're going to do it. Now they're going to take away home and land ownership. They want it all, these bastards. And how are they going to do that? Well, the first thing they had to do was take over all the banks. Fait accompli, that one's done. Second thing they had to do was convince enough members of the House of Representatives and the Senate that they should basically make it illegal for any private entity to loan money for these things called mortgages, unless they got the funds from the Central Debt Instrument Bank. Check. Ching. Fait accompli. What's the next step? What do they have to do next? Well, now they will, and already have, form corporations, fake business fronts, are granted tens of billions of dollars from various money laundering schemes inside the federal government, and then they go and buy your home because you can't afford it anymore. Or they go and buy someone else's, or they have it built by Mexican cheap labor. Another reason why you have to have this massive migration. Why do they want to do that? Yeah, Mike, why do they want to do that, Miniature? Well, they want to do that. Now they own the home. Remember, you will own nothing and you will be happy. Well, why do they want that? Well, now you have to rent the home from them. So you're never going to be the owner now unless you already have one, or unless your family has property and you can build on it and you're willing to do the labor yourself. Now, some of you are so jet fuel successful out there that none of this matters to you. And, you know, it doesn't matter to me, TKD. They want $500,000? Done. $750,000? I got that covered. So those of you that are above lower middle class, you're going to do just fine. You can still play their game for this go-around. But what Mr. Alton is writing about here is that day is coming to an end. The lower middle class dude, unless this thing collapses and there's a great reset button is hit, is no longer going to be a homeowner. There's no more driving down Main Street in Mayberry and shopping for that little bungalow for you and the wife that costs $7,500. That day, that ship has sailed. It's never going to come back. The EPA won't allow it. The OSHA won't allow it. All the rules and attendant regulations. You got to have inspectors for this, inspectors for that. Got to have insurance for this. It's almost impossible for us. And we've been in this house for 15 years to maintain the homeowner's insurance now. Now the insurance companies are going like, you guys jacked the price of everything up. We got to fix somebody's house. It costs double what it cost in 2018. Insurance rates are now. Do you see how all of these schemes are all interlinked? This is why, if nothing else happens, the federal monster has to be defanged. There must be an act of secede, for no other reason than for your prurient self-interest. He's right about this. Middle class home ownership, new home ownership, especially for a first-time home buyer. You heard those idiots in that montage we played yesterday. How many of those wanton acts of douchery do you think are going to be able to afford $500,000 home?
Of course they're not, because they're going to be your Starbucks barista in a week.
Famous first words. Do you have that clip? Because people couldn't believe it yesterday. They were like, no way. That's comedy. I saw the comments in the chat room about the graduating class of NYU. No, that's the Babylon Bee. No, it's not. Here, which one of these useful idiots here that has $200,000 in student loan now that Biden has to forgive, which one of these idiots is now going to be a first-time home owner and is going to be able to afford it because they do this?
My name is Jacob, and my concentration is environmental science and sustainable business.
Hi, my name is Lex, and my concentration is the performance of self.
Hi, I'm Gabrielle. My concentration is creative direction, production, and narrative through the arts, performance, and written word.
Hi, my name is Karina Gomez, and my concentration is in journalism and Latin American studies,
Your concentration
with
is
an
in
emphasis
stupidity.
in human rights, collective memory, and political violence.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Lee, and I studied the sociology of environmental communication.
Hi, my name is Reed, and I study music business and gender studies.
Gender
Hi, my name
studies
is
and
Dominique, and I studied care politics with a minor in disability studies.
My name is Elliot Wright, and my concentration is art as a social mechanism.
Hi, I'm Georgia, and my concentration is dramatic writing and theatrical adaptation.
My name is Noah Loyacano,
Theatrical, like,
and my
adaptation
concentration is equilibrium or negotiated paradox.
Hi, my name is Sophie Lopez, and my concentration is titled Queering and Decolonizing Theater Practice.
Hi, my name is Maya,
Decolonizing.
and my concentration is journalism, post-colonial studies, and psychoanalysis.
Hi, I'm Eloise. I'm graduating with a concentration in philosophy of science and theater.
My name is Amina, and my concentration is titled The Criminal Mind, which is surrounded on criminology and applied psychology.
Hi, my name is Juliana. My concentration is international business and fashion through sustainable development. Yay!
I say we take off and nuke the entire site from orbit. It's the only way to be sure.
Graduating class of 2024 of NYU. Iter chirp, please. You just made that up. That's a Babylon Bee clip. It's not a Babylon Bee clip. It is real. They are really graduating, and they really have their little degrees in their hand and thumb. How has this bill of goods been sold to these poor souls? I seriously, ladies and gentlemen, I pity them. I do not blame these Utes. I don't. This is the Crusade Radio Network. I don't blame the Utes because it was the adults that have failed them. Where were the adults to say, I don't think a concentration in applied sociology and decolonization of violent regimes is an actual field of study that you can work in?
Queering and decolonizing theater practices.
Queering and decolonizing theater practices for the win! What? Sink it, baby! Hunt it! An adult came up with that. That is not the creation of a dumbass high school graduate. An adult came up with that. I mean, we used to joke. Used to be magazines when I was a little children's. They're both out of business. Cracked was one, and Mad Magazine with Alfred E. Newman was the other. And they would, I guess they were prescient, because Cracked Magazine would have the loser and the cartoons inside. The loser that was going to college then was when he was asked, well, what are you studying? Well, I'm studying ArtsFA. ARTSFOH. When I was a kid, I didn't know what ArtsFA was. I just thought I thought it was some fancy study. It was nothing. It was a study of stupidity, I guess. Mad Magazine is now reality. Like genderqueer, like study for the theater and decolonization and stuff. You ever wonder what the curriculum is like? You know, what do you do when you get to decolonization 101? It's even worse. What happens when you get to decolonization and queer gender studies 501? When you're in your last semester, what do you study? Class, like, pay attention to like the chalkboard and the. This is like what used to be like the symbol for female and male. Just kind of like erase that stuff. The adults did this to these kids. This is on the faculty of NYU. If you're an NYU graduate, withdraw all of your funding, if you have any, as an alumni. Tell them not no, but hell no. So Larry Alton in this Owning a Home and American Dream says, he talks about interest rates. Mortgage payment has gone up 30 to 50% as a result of that. One study in particular shows a 12.6% increase in wages since 2006, but when you take inflation into account, those wages have actually dropped 9.3%. So inflation is destroying the middle class, and it always does. That's how it works. It takes the money out of those that have it, the people in the middle. I always tell you, people at the top don't have the majority of the money. You do. And if the people in the middle class acted as though they had the majority of the funds, maybe they would do things differently. The impact on Americans, then. What does this shift of the American dream mean, Mr. Alton X's? Well, for starters, it makes us reevaluate what it means to achieve this dream. If home ownership is no longer feasible for a large portion of the population, then how do we redefine success and stability in America? The dream may need to adapt, focusing perhaps more on financial security and other forms rather than solely on owning a home. On top of all this, the inaccessibility of home ownership isn't just a financial issue, it's a social one. It impacts family stability, community building, and even educational opportunities for future generations. He's giving all the complaints out. Fast forward to the end. As we look to the future, it's clear that while the vision of the American dream may be shifting, the values that support it, freedom, prosperity, and the pursuit of happiness don't have to slip by the wayside, too. It's us to adapt and find new ways to achieve these goals within today's context. What's essential is that we continue to seek solutions that allow as many Americans as possible to achieve their version of this dream, whether it includes home ownership or other forms of growth and fulfillment.
They're not going to get it with those.
They're not going to get it with those degrees, Mr. Larry Alton at American Thinker. And I'm just going to sort of like go ahead and disagree with you there. I don't agree with your conclusion. And I bet most of you listening are wondering, like, is TKRD going to call this guy out? No, I am going to call him out, and I'm not going to agree with the conclusion because surrender is not a battle plan. Surrender is a defeat plan. You will lose. I'm going to guarantee you're going to lose. Go ahead, surrender today. Mission accomplished. Who gets to make the terms of surrender? Well, the people that surrender don't ever get to make the terms. They agree to the terms that are made by the entity that accepts the surrender. See Lee handing sword to Grant at Appomattox. So he says, well, the solution you'll say is to adapt. No, Mr. Alton, the solution is not to adapt. You know, this is what really angers and pisses me off about the rest of the right. They're so eager to take the narrative that these effing bastards have laid out and the paradigm for all the rest of us, that somehow we have to accept it. There's no other way other than accepting it and figuring out, okay, we'll have to live in it. No, that's a surrender. They always want to surrender. They always want to make a deal. It's freaking money hall all the time. Let's make a deal. I don't want to make a deal with these people. There is no deal to be made on the family. Is there? If you say there's a deal to be made on the family, then you're not a Christian. Well, if there's no deal to be made on a family needs a home. A peasant, and what we are told is the worst situation and scenario in the history of mankind, in old Christendom, a peasant serf, guess what? Had about 10 acres of land and a home. He could raise as many kids as he wanted to on it. He had to share some of the proceeds from the land with the baron, or with the landlord, but he was able to provide for himself, and he had a home. Now, for all practical, here it's a peppermint Zaki, for all practical intensive purposes, for all practical intents and purposes, he was a homeowner. He had achieved, not the American dream, the Christendom dream. And it wasn't an option. The serf didn't have a question mark at the end of his road if he was going to start a family, if he was going to marry a sweetheart in the church, and they're going to raise a family. There was going to be a place where that family was going to flourish. They were going to have a home. No one said, well, it kind of depends on, Lord Baron stock in the housing market when you kids get married. That never happened. So this nonsense, Hal, now that for our children, that we got to negotiate some new way, and it's okay for BlackRock to actually own the property, and that they could just be like, what, wage slaves or interest slaves or usury slaves on it? Ridiculous. That is a wholesale surrender. Don't listen to these people. Do not give up the ghost. They are not going to win so long as all of us refuse to surrender. And you know what the way out may be? You got land? Try and get some more. You don't have land? If you even have to move hundreds of miles away from the nearest major city, but you can get it at a price that you can afford, and it is available out there. Get it before BlackRock gets it. Go buy some land. Who cares if you don't live within 5 miles of the nearest Walmart? Cry me a freaking river, titty baby. You just got to find a way to make it. That's how you beat these bastards. They can't take all of us down at once unless we quit and unless we surrender. They think that we're going to surrender. As a matter of fact, they're pretty convinced that you're going to surrender and that you're going to accept Class 5 the stakeholders in the New World Order and all that. Maybe this is why they hate Trump so much, because Trump is telling people not to surrender. Don't surrender. No, we're going to get the American dream back. Home ownership is going to come back. It's going to be beautiful. Maybe that's really the reason why he cannot be allowed to get anywhere near the levers of power. Now, there is so much more that we could talk about on this subject here. A lot of it in my interview with George Webb about the echoes of Laurel Canyon, which is a canyon, by the way, in Southern California. And not enough time to get to it today. Parent Talk is all new today. Tommy and Justin are filling in for Fiorella. That ought to be fun. Oh, allow it. Oh, allow it. True story. The Golden Truth Ticket 2024 Kia Sportage Sweepstakes coming your way. All of Independence Month begins next Monday. Keep checking your email for details on that. When the Trump verdict comes out, if it comes out today, I will break in and we will bring it to you live and have commentary on all of that right here on the Crusade Radio Network. Again, I implore you, if you want to strike a blow for freedom and for good broadcasting today, subscribe to us here on the Crusade Radio Network and on our YouTube channel. God bless you. Merry keep you. See you tomorrow.